Madaki api shunkumambliwi imachi api kishto naha yuhan chante washte nape chuzapi. Good morning, relatives. My name is Jenna Gray. My Lakota name is Eagle Dog Woman. I am an enrolled member with the Rosebud Sioux Tribe. I am from the Rosebud Indian Reservation. And I want to thank you all for coming today. I am the College Readiness Associate. Go ahead and go to the next slide, please. I want to introduce my program administrator. Go ahead and take the lead.
Yat Sharon Shabala Union Shes, Sanjikin Nishlin, Dash Cheatney Bushes Chain, Twitzoni Shiche, Nast Ezra Chanela. Hello, my name is Rowana Shabala. I am the College Readiness Program Administrator here at the College of the American Indian College Fund. Thank you all for coming, and we look forward for this upcoming presentation.
Thank you, Rowana. Next slide, please. Okay, so before we start and dive into this FAFSA event, I would like to start our day out with a grounding. So let's take a moment and everybody please just take a deep breath. Okay, I'm gonna shut my video off because I want to participate with you. As we ground ourselves today, let's close our eyes. Let's take a deep breath. And we want to acknowledge our presenter, our viewers, our educators from the past, present, and future. Let's open our minds, our hearts to receiving this knowledge today in a good way, and that it will help us pave the way to a better future for ourselves, our communities, and through higher education. Please take another deep breath and now open your eyes so that we can begin our session today. Wopila. The American Indian College Fund was founded in 1989. For over 31 years, the College Fund has been the nation's largest charity supporting Native students' access to higher education. We provide scholarships and programming to improve Native American student access to higher education and the support and tools to succeed. Tribal colleges and universities provide dynamic higher education opportunities, most on or near reservation lands, known for their remarkable programs, culturally relevant curricula, and familia student care. We support our tribal colleges and we support our higher pathway, Native pathway partners. So I just want to say thank you for coming and attending this event. Today's programming, we have a special guest to help students learn about the FAFSA. And, you know, of course, we want to give her a big welcoming. So let's go ahead and think about what we're doing today, you know, taking one step at a time. We have a lot of seniors on our viewing channel today, and we have things that we have to look forward to and prepare for. So just taking one step at a time. This year, FAFSA, their slogan is Better FAFSA, Better Future. And the opening day is going to be December 31st. And so we wanted to, you know, offer this webinar to you to help support you and prepare you for what your next steps are. We want to give a big welcoming to Caroline Plumage. She resides on the Fort Belknap Indian Reservation and is an enrolled member of the Ani tribe. In 1997, she attended Ani Nakota College, ANC, where she received her Associate of Science degree in business. She then transferred to the University of Montana in Missoula, where she earned her Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration Management. Most of her experience is working in accounting for various companies and corporations, including Youth Dynamics, Yellowstone County Justice Court, and Beartooth Harley-Davidson. Caroline has been employed at ANC for the last year, working diligently to learn all about financial aid. Her favorite part about her job is helping students. Please welcome Caroline.
Hello. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share what little bit that I do know. Like she stated, I've been in my position for about a year and 3 months now, so this is new to me also. And I'm going to be presenting on questions that have been asked to me by my students here at our college. And I figured if they are wanting to know, I know that there are lots out there who need to know also. So with that being said, I will just get started and I'm ready for the next slide. Thank you. So what is the meaning of FAFSA? Before each year of college, apply for federal grants, work study, and loans with the free application for federal student aid, FAFSA form. Your college uses your FAFSA data to determine your federal aid eligibility. So this is really important because when you're putting in for different scholarships throughout the nation, states, they have requirements. And some of those requirements, they would like to see that you did apply for the FAFSA. Even if you didn't qualify or you were over income, they just want to know that you did apply for a FAFSA. So it is important, even if you don't feel like you are going to qualify, but you're going to be putting in for scholarships, then it is very important to put in for the FAFSA. So with that being said, before each year of college, apply for federal grants, work study, and loans with the free federal student aid FAFSA form. That's why I wanted this one up here, but go ahead, next slide. It's the gateway, or why is FAFSA important? It is the gateway to more than 150 billion in college grants, work study funds, and federal student loans, as well as certain state-based aid. Most students receive some type of financial aid. So you should fill out a FAFSA application even if you don't think you qualify. And that goes along with what I just said, because it's going to affect other monies you may be awarded. Okay, next slide. You have to pay back FAFSA. The type of aid you receive after filling out the FAFSA determines if you need to pay it back. Grants, scholarships, and work study money don't need to be repaid, but have finite funding limits. You will need to repay subsidized and unsubsidized and direct plus loans. And we'll get into that a little bit later. Next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, what is a bursar and their role? So this is something I learned this year, and I figured I better put it on for everyone to know, because I know that our college didn't really understand what a bursar was. They kept sending the calls to me and sending the information to me. I do not do the bursar role in our college. So it is important to find out who your bursar is and engage with them, get to know them. You know, they're going to help you. They're going to help you with your billing. They're going to help you with your financial aid payments. So the definition of a bursar is a person who manages the financial affairs of a college or a university. Their role, a bursar is a financial administrator within a school or university setting. Their specific role involves managing student billing. Students go to the bursar office to pay bills or set up a plan to do so. Bursars also advise students of late payments and help them set up payment plans and keep detailed records. So it's good to know. So with that being said, also, I learned in my first year, sometimes new students don't know. They are unaware of their bookstore bill. They could have went and charged, you know, things that they need, maybe a want or two. And with that, that's going to be part of your bill. So they're going to take that from your financial aid payment. So it's important to know what your money situation is. You know, maybe get a little budget going, keep track, keep your email at the federal student, or what is it, your FAFSA. They're going to send you an email on how much you're going to receive. Keep that, kind of budget off of that if you don't know exactly how much you're going to be awarded or if you're going to be awarded. Just kind of keep that in mind. Keep a running total of what you're charging against your Pell, because they're going to take that out before you get it. And I know some of our students didn't understand that. So I just wanted to bring that up, that that is going to be taken from the payment before you receive the payment. Okay, next slide. Okay, 7 things you need before you fill out the FAFSA form. Very, very important. So I would start getting this together now if you don't have it. If you are a returning student, try to figure out what you used prior, because it's going to be attached to your social security number. So even if you try to do a new one, if you're unable to get in with your old information, it's going to still want to try to, it'll send you a reset anyway. So you'll get a new password, all of that is what I'm trying to say. But you need to know some of your old information to get new IDs to go forward. And this will go for you and your parent or your guardian. And with this being said, I would like for all of you to get a sheet of paper, write all your information down, keep it somewhere. A lot of the younger students like to use their phones. However you do it, keep your information for life or longer. You're going to need it. I'm finding that out working this position. Like I said, very important. They're going to ping everything off of your social security number. So say you graduate, get your degree. Well, then your kids grow up. You have children and you're going to need to sign in as a parent, like a parent needs to sign in for you. The federal website is still going to keep your social security number. So I would keep it, because then you'll need it for when your kids go to school, if you're going to be using financial aid FAFSA. So number 1, your FAFSA ID. If you haven't done so already, create a FSA ID, which is your account username and password. The FSA ID is a digital legal signature that lets you complete and update your FAFSA form. So create your own and keep it safe. Parents of dependent students will need to use their own FSA ID to complete the FAFSA process. We recommend creating your account early, even before you're ready to complete the FAFSA form. This extra step can avoid delays in the process, especially since it can take up to 3 days before you can use your FAFSA ID. And this is required for dependent students. So when you sign and submit at the end of your FAFSA form, your parent will also need to sign and submit before the federal website will accept it. And it'll tell you if you've been accepted or rejected, and then it'll give rejected reasons. It'll list them. And then you'll need to fix those before they can accept you. And I found the most common one is they don't sign them at the end. So when you go on to that website, and I know the younger students, I've been working with them, they're fast and click, 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 click happy. Well, take a moment, slow down. This is for you. This is something you're doing for yourself. So take a minute and invest in yourself, because it's for the long run and you're going to need it. So it's just better to take your time, read. I found they're clicking on the new tab. So for the next school year, because there's 2 tabs that are going to come up when you're into that form. Click on the correct tab. That's the first step. I found they click the wrong year, because there's 2 tabs and they just click the first one and start going, and they're like, well, I did it. Well, yeah, you did it for next year, but I need it for this year. And then I go in and I show them and they're like, oh, I didn't even see that. So take your time, invest in yourself, read things before you go on to the next step. Don't just click, 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 and then go. Because that's where I'm finding at the end, they don't even realize they did not submit it. At the end, there's a sign and submit tab. And that's for dependents. That's what this is talking about. Your parents will also need to create their own information so they can log in and sign and submit also. So there will need to be 2 for dependent students only. Okay, next slide. Number 2, your social security number. You can find your social security number on your social security card. If you do not have access to it or you do not know where it is, you can request a new or replacement social security card from the Social Security Administration. And you can probably Google that in your local town and see where your nearest Social Security Administration is. If you are not a US citizen but meet our other eligibility criteria for federal student aid as an eligible non-citizen, you'll also need your alien registration number. Both parents and students need information for the FAFSA form, and that goes for everybody. If you are a dependent student, if you're independent, you just need to create your own. Okay, next slide. Number 3, your driver's license number. You'll need to enter your driver's license on the FAFSA form. If you don't have a driver's license, don't worry about this step. Pretty simple. Okay, next slide. Number 4, your federal income tax return. On the 2024-2025 FAFSA form, you and your parents, if you're a dependent student, will report your 2022 income. So I'm going to repeat it one more time. On the 2024-2025 FAFSA form, you and your parents, if you're a dependent student, will report your 2022 income. Since you probably filed your 2022 income tax return by the time the FAFSA form is available, you may be eligible to transfer your tax information onto the FAFSA form right away using the IRS data retrieval tool, DRT. When using this tool, it is important to have your 2022 tax return available for reference. This is important. When you get to the data retrieve tool and you click that button to go to the IRS, it's going to ask you a question. What was your address? And you're going to need to put that in there. And it's very finicky, it's picky. So if you put P.O. space BOX, but it actually on your tax form, it was P.O. space BOX, it's going to know that. Or if you used a street address, the accounting module is going to know that. Our IRS module, I'm sorry. So it's important to have your taxes there as a reference so you can see exactly what was put on there. So when you're entering it into this system, it'll pull it for you. And that makes everything much easier and it goes smoother. If you try to enter it and do it on your own manually, which you can, it's going to require verifications. And I found that out. I didn't know why when I first started, why all these required verifications were coming through, and my students were having a hard time getting the verification information in, and we had a lot of them. Well, after being here and doing it a few times, I found it's important when you're on that financial aid module to click into every section. Don't skip anything. If you skip, it's going to ping you, or it's going to know, because the software system is built to know if you clicked in there or if you didn't, it's going to know. So at least click in there and answer the questions. Even if it's a 0 and you just got to type a 0 in there, do that. If the answer is no, no. I found that when they skip over the assets part and just leave it, I get a bunch of verification requests. I don't know if it's that way nationwide for other financial aid officers, but I'm learning in my position that it sends something to them where they want all those verifications. So very important. Click in every section of the module and answer, even if it's a simple 0, put it in there. Also, it's going to require those same verifications when you're hand entering your income. I don't know why. So it's better to use the IRS data retrieval tool if you can. I would do that. Okay, next slide. Number 5, records of your untaxed income. This is going to be very important going into the new FAFSA form that is launching December 31st. The form, I understand, I haven't seen it yet. None of us have. But to my understanding, it's going to be shorter, not as lengthy. However, they're going to require more income data. So they're going to want to know, say, example, if you're a farmer, how much is your farm valued at? And you're going to need to put that information in there. So it's better to have the information ready and available. So as you're filling out your new FAFSA form, you will have it to put into the module. Very, very important. Okay, next slide. Number 6, records of your assets money. This section includes savings and checking account balances, as well as the value of investments, such as stocks, bonds, and real estate, including your primary residence. Report the current amounts. I'm going to say that again. Report the current amounts as of the date you signed the FAFSA form, rather than reporting the 2022 tax year amounts. Extremely important. That's what I'm talking about reading. Stop and read. Take a minute. Look at it. See what it is asking you for. Because if you get a verification for your taxes and it's not the right tax year, your financial aid officer is going to, have to report that it isn't the correct year, and it'll stop your process. So we need what the federal government is asking us to verify. So it's very important. I keep saying that, and I can't say it enough, to just get your information, bring all your stuff in. It's confidential. We are not going to share that. It's none of our business personally. It's just what we need to do our job to help you, so you are able to get your funding to get your education, if you choose to go that route. Okay, next slide. Number 7, list of the schools you are interested in attending. Be sure to add any college that you are considering, even if you haven't applied or been accepted yet. The schools you list on your FAFSA form will automatically receive your FAFSA results electronically. They will use your FAFSA information to determine the types and amounts of financial aid you may receive. You can list up to 10 schools at a time on your FAFSA form. This is another one that seems very simple, but I've learned it is not. I've had students who come and, I haven't received my financial aid, or where is my financial aid at? And I look, and being new to my position, I will admit some of it was, I had to understand this. I didn't realize they didn't click the school. Well, I figured that out. So now I know. I tell them, go back in and do a correction and click our school and add us, so we can actually see your information. Because I go in and I look and I don't see them. I'm like, I don't know. I don't like saying I don't know. So I figured it out. So very, very important. This seems like a simple step, but it's often overlooked, and they do not put us on there. So whatever school you want to see your information, be sure to put them in that section when they're asking about which college. And like I said here, you can list up to 10 schools at a time. So if you're not sure, that's okay. If you didn't enroll there, that's okay. If you think you might be attending there, put them on. So that way, when you are needing it and it's go time, they have the information and they can work out your financial aid packet. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is gonna be one of the big changes on the new form. I do know that. This is new, starting 2024 and 2025 school year. Student Aid Index, SAI. Estimated Financial Assistance, EFA, will change to Other Financial Assistance, OFA. And Expected Family Contribution, EFC, will change to Student Aid Index, SAI. Very important. I know a lot of students are used to the EFC and looking for that. Now you will look for the SAI. This is what they're gonna go off of going forward. So no longer EFC, that's in the past. Now it's SAI. That's one of the most important changes, just so you understand the difference. And that equation is cost of attendance minus student aid index minus other financial assistance. That will equal your need. And that other financial assistance could be, anything. It could be state scholarships. It could be, waivers, whatever. But this, I would keep, I would probably write that down just because it's going to be one of the changes until you get used to it and remember that, because you're going to be used to seeing those other words, but it's not that no more. It is now changed to these acronyms. Yeah. So when you see that, or if you have a student who didn't watch this, just kind of let them know that it's pretty much the same. They just named them different things. So no more EFC. That's the important thing. It's SAI. Okay, next slide. Lifetime expectancy used. This is another important piece of your financial aid. I didn't know this when I was going to school, so I make sure students know it now. LEU. LEU, Pell Grant Lifetime Limits. So this is what the federal government is saying that you are allotted for your career in college. So if you qualify, you can receive the Pell Grant from no more than 12 terms or the equivalent, roughly 6 years or 600%. And a lot of students ask me like, well, how much Pell do I have left? How much, am I going to be able to use? And that is determined by the information you put into your FAFSA. I'm not sure. I don't know. The system figures it out, and they will tell you how much you're eligible to receive per semester, quarter, depending on what your college goes off of. And a lot want to know like just amount wise, but we go off of percentage. So what I tell people is it is approximately 50% used each semester. That's if students want to know that, that's kind of how you can gauge it. It depends on the number of credits that you take, that could affect it. There's just different things that go into that equation. So it's not just a set amount. So I have a hard time answering that until I get to look at everything, and then I can kind of tell you where you're at with your Pell you have left to use. So we mostly go off of percent, but it's good to pay attention to this. So the government does allow, from what I can see, they know you're going to have issues. It could be a family emergency. It could be anything that pops up. Life itself could happen. And so you're going to need to take time off, or you may have failed, but it's okay. They have that up to 6 years where you can they'll give you another, go at it. So it's very important to keep your Pell in good standing. That's the best advice I can give you. So talk to your registrar if you know that you're not doing good, and you may need to withdraw, so that way you you can get yourself together for the next semester. But just know that the federal government does give you up to 600%. So do your best, make good use of your funding that you are awarded. Okay, next slide. All right, top 4 questions of direct subsidized loans versus direct unsubsidized loans. Our college here does not do loans, so I'm not as familiar with this portion. However, I wanted to give a little bit of information so students who are getting loans, or you could be even graduating from your tribal college and you're going on to a state university, you know, something like that. So that way you'll know when you are offered these a little bit about them so you can make good decisions for yourself. So number 1, how are they similar? Both direct subsidized loans and direct unsubsidized loans are federal student loans offered by the U.S. Department of Education, ED. Require you to be enrolled in school at least half time to be eligible, and offer a 6-month grace period before you're required to start a repayment. Your school will determine which loan types you qualify for and the amount you can borrow based on your financial need. Your cost of attendance and any other financial aid you may have received. Sorry, my mouth is drying out. Okay, next slide. 2, how are they different? The major difference between subsidized and unsubsidized loans had to do with interest. Direct subsidized loans, you won't be charged interest while you're enrolled in school or during the 6-month grace period. Direct unsubsidized loans, interest starts accumulating from the date of your first loan disbursement when you receive the funds from your school. Next slide. Next slide, yeah, thank you. Okay, 3, what do I need to know about interest? Interest is an additional money that you'll have to pay on top of your principal balance, the amount of your original loan. Direct loans are daily interest loans, which means a daily interest formula determines how much interest adds up every day. The daily interest formula looks like this. Interest amount equals outstanding principal balance times interest factor times number of days since last payment. You can find your interest rate factor by dividing your loan's interest rate by the number of days in the year. Want to figure out how much interest you accrue each month? Since each month has a different number of days, your loans will accrue a different amount each month, but you can get a close estimate using this version of the formula. Outstanding principal balance times interest rate divided by number of months in a year equal amount of monthly interest. Next slide. Which loan should I accept? Given the option, you should accept a direct subsidized loan first. Then, if you still need additional financial aid to pay for college or career school, accept the direct unsubsidized loan. You're responsible for paying all the interest that accumulates on an unsubsidized loan during all periods. So it's important to borrow only what you need. With that being said, I want to go into a little bit about scholarships. I haven't mentioned those and they're not in the slide. However, there are nationwide scholarships that I know you are eligible for a fact, without even looking. I know that. It's important to do a little research to invest in yourself and find those scholarships that you're eligible for. I know your financial aid officer can help you with that, or your student support services would be glad to help you with that. Someone at your college is an administrator of scholarships. Find out who that is and go speak with them, because they could even have a list of state scholarships for you to apply for. And it's really important to know that if you do not apply for that money, somebody else is going to apply for that money. And the donors who are setting that money aside for that scholarship, that are funding it, want that money to go to you. It's out there for you if you qualify. If you don't put in for it, they are going to put that money elsewhere for somebody else. And a lot of those times, Native American monies that go into those scholarships that are designed for Native Americans, funded for Native Americans by founder, different funding people. It could be a person, just a person who wants to help. They want that money to go to you. So apply for it. Don't be scared. That's my message, because you're going to get it. You will win it. You will be awarded it as long as you're eligible. So keep your grades up, and you don't have to take these loans. A loan is not a bad thing, when you need it. However, I would apply for scholarships first, because more than likely you're going to win it. What they do with those monies is if you don't apply and it's a Native American design scholarship, I worry personally because I know they put it out there for non-natives, and then non-natives are going to apply for it and they're going to win it. So I don't want them to start, oh, well, these students are not applying, so we have to put this money elsewhere. So very important. It's okay to get told no. It's better to try and get it than to not even apply at all. Because if you don't apply at all, you're going to get zero. If you apply, more than likely you're going to be awarded, and you won't have to do these loans. But loans will help, and it's okay to take the loan. But it's just best to try to win scholarships before you do the loans. So start looking now. Get a solid essay written. That's what I did. Keep it at, I'm 25 now. I'm 26. I have a child. Just update it. But get a good, solid one written for yourself. And with that being said, I would put in hardships. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has hardships in life. No one's going to see it. It's confidential. It's only for you. Once again, you're investing in yourself. So get a good solid one and keep using it. Put it in for all of them. Just customize it, a little bit, tweak it a little bit for a different one, but have your solid, piece there. So that way you could just keep using it year after year. So don't just think, oh, I'm too busy, because I see that. I'm busy. We're all busy. Like I said, you're investing in yourself. So take that moment to invest in yourself and get a good essay written. So that way you're able to help yourself pay for college, and you won't be doing these loans. Because these loans, they do get expensive after they add up, but you do need it. And I understand that. I would just do the scholarship portion first. Okay, next slide. So here's a little example that I found. And like I said, I apologize. I'm not good at PowerPoints and things like that, but I did cut and paste this so you can kind of see an example. So a direct unsubsidized loan for $19,000, the principal is $19,000, and your interest is zero. So that's why we suggest you take the direct subsidized loan first. If you look over on the other side, the direct unsubsidized loan for $8,000, your principal is $8,000. That's what you originally borrowed. Well, now they're tacking on interest, and you have interest on top of that of $1,069. So right there is a good, clear picture of the difference of the loans. And I just wanted you to be able to see that. Okay, next slide. You do not need to accept all student loans that are offered to you. You can request a lower loan amount than what you are eligible for. If you end up needing more funds in the future, you can talk to your school's financial aid office, and then they can maybe adjust them for the next semester, or there are different things that can be done. So example, if you're offered 5,000, but you know you don't need that 5,000, you maybe need 2,000, you can write back and say, I am only accepting 2,000 of this, and they will give you that amount instead of the 5. You can take the 5 if you need the 5, but they'll split it up into 2 semesters, and that's important to know because some students don't understand that. They think, well, I was awarded this much. How come I only got this much? It's because every payment is split into 2 semesters. So you'll get it in 2 payments. Okay, next slide. All of the information that I presented for you today, I pulled off of the studentaid.gov website. So I put the link on here. So I'm sure you're all familiar with it, but go dig around. They have good information for you. Get in the search bar. If you have a specific question, type it in there and they'll pull that up for you, and you can kind of click around in there and see what you need to know. If you're not good at doing that kind of stuff, go see your financial aid officer. They can help you look around in there for what you need, or your student support services office. I'm sure they're more than happy to help you get familiar with this website. I put the link up there so everybody has it, but this is where I pulled my presentation off of this website. Okay, next slide. Here is a good link. It's a YouTube video list of the new 2024-2025 FAFSA, and it'll answer in a shortened version where you're not reading this big volume. They give you volumes to read of financial aid. These are just quick questions that people asked, and it'll tell you, and they're short clips. I don't know if there's a play all button, but yeah, just play. I just kind of wanted you guys to watch it. I don't know if you can turn the volume up.
Give us just a quick second, everybody. We're trying to get some sound onto that video.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Taylor, a college counselor here to answer your questions and help you on your financial aid journey. Wondering what FAFSA is and why it's important? The free application for federal student aid, known as the FAFSA form, is the application that students complete each year to receive student aid for college or career school. It's important that you fill out the FAFSA form too if you want to receive financial aid. The FAFSA form has a series of questions for you to answer, and it takes most people less than an hour to complete the form. The information you provide will be used to determine your eligibility for federal student aid, and many states will use your information to determine eligibility for state financial aid. This financial aid may include grants, scholarships, work-study funds, and student loans. When you complete the FAFSA form online, you can pick up to 20 schools to receive your information. Those schools will use the information to calculate how much student aid to offer you. Each school will send you an aid offer that details the types and amounts of aid available to you. Financial aid can help you and your family afford college or career school. Submit your FAFSA form to access the largest source of financial aid, federal student aid, as well as financial aid from your school and state. Make sure that you complete the form for every year you plan to attend school. You should submit it as early as possible on or after the day the form launches school, and federal deadlines, and to be eligible for as much aid as possible. If you have more questions about the FAFSA process, visit studentaid.gov. Hi, I'm Taylor, a guidance counselor here to answer your questions and help you on your financial aid journey. Wondering what's changed for the 2024-25 FAFSA form? There are 6 key changes coming to the FAFSA form and experience for 2024-25. 1. A spouse or step-parent may need to participate in your FAFSA form as a contributor. Contributor is a new term being introduced for the 2024-25 FAFSA form, and we'll go into more detail on what that means in our Who is a Contributor on the 2024-25 FAFSA form video. 2. Your federal tax information will now be transferred directly from the IRS into the form. This information will be used to determine your eligibility for federal student aid and shared with schools and state higher education agencies to prepare financial aid offers. 3. For this transfer to happen, you and your contributors must provide consent and approval on the FAFSA form. This is a new requirement, and if consent and approval aren't provided, you will not be eligible for federal student aid. Even if one of your contributors doesn't have a Social Security number, didn't file taxes, or filed taxes outside of the U.S., consent and approval are still required. 4. You and your contributors will each need to have your own studentaid.gov account username and password to access and complete the online FAFSA form. Contributors who don't have a Social Security number can still create a studentaid.gov account to fill out their sections on the FAFSA form. But remember, you must be a U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen to be eligible for federal student aid. 5. Once your FAFSA form has been started, you will now be able to view the status, including contributor progress, in your studentaid.gov account. Finally, when you complete the online FAFSA form, your information can now be sent to more schools, with the option to select up to 20 colleges, career schools, or trade schools. If you have more questions about the FAFSA process, visit studentaid.gov. Hi, I'm Taylor, a college counselor here to answer your questions and help you on your financial aid journey. Wondering who a contributor is on the 2024-25 FAFSA form? Contributor is a new term on the FAFSA form. A contributor is anyone required to provide consent and approval to have their federal tax information transferred directly from the IRS into the FAFSA form, as well as a signature on the form. This may include you, the student, your spouse, a biological or adoptive parent, or a step-parent. The contributors on your FAFSA form are determined by your dependency status, your tax filing status, and your marital status. The information provided by contributors will be used to determine your eligibility for federal student aid, but contributors don't need to worry that they'll be expected to contribute to your school costs. Being identified as a contributor doesn't mean they'll be financially responsible. Even if your or your parent's spouse isn't identified as a contributor, their information, including personal and financial details, will still be required on the FAFSA form if they are currently married and not separated or divorced. If you have more questions about the FAFSA process, visit studentaid.gov. Hi, I'm Taylor, a college counselor here to answer your questions and help you on your financial aid journey. Wondering why you and your contributors need your own studentaid.gov accounts? When it's time to complete the 2024-25 free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA form, you and your contributors will use your studentaid.gov accounts to access and complete the FAFSA form online. To log in to your studentaid.gov account, you will use an FSA ID, which is the account username and password you create when you set up your account. The studentaid.gov account contains verified personal information, which confirms that the person creating the account is who they say they are. This means that each studentaid.gov account can only link to one person, and that you can't share an account with any of your contributors. When you and your contributors are ready to fill out your required sections of the FAFSA form, you will each log in using your own unique FSA ID. You'll also use your FSA ID to provide consent and approval to have your federal tax information transferred directly into the form via direct data exchange with the IRS, and to sign your FAFSA form. Remember, without participation, consent, and approval, and a signature from all contributors on your FAFSA form, you won't be eligible for federal student aid. So make sure you and your contributors create studentaid.gov accounts today to be set up for success when it's time to complete your 2024-25 FAFSA form. If you have more questions about the FAFSA process, visit studentaid.gov. Hi, I'm Taylor, a college counselor here to answer your questions and help you on your financial aid journey. Wondering what it means when you provide consent and approval on the 2024-25 free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA form? For you to be eligible for federal student aid, you and your contributors must provide consent and approval on the 2024-25 FAFSA form. When you provide consent and approval, you agree to 5 things. First, you agree to share your personally identifiable information provided on the FAFSA form with the IRS. Second, you agree to have your federal tax information transferred directly into the FAFSA form via direct data exchange with the IRS. Third, you agree to allow the U.S. Department of Education, or the department, to use your federal tax information to determine your eligibility for federal student aid. Fourth, you agree to allow the department to share your federal tax information with schools listed on your FAFSA form and state higher education agencies for their use in awarding and administering financial aid. And finally, you agree to allow the department to reuse your federal tax information on other FAFSA forms that you are invited to and choose to participate on. It's important to note that when your contributors provide their consent and approval, it does not mean they are responsible for paying for your education. If you're a dependent student and your parent refuses to provide consent and approval on your 2024-25 FAFSA form, you will not be eligible to receive federal student aid. If you have more questions about the FAFSA process, visit studentaid.gov.
Well, that concludes what information I have for you. So I turn it back to Jenna.
Yes, thank you so much for the wonderful information, Carolyn. I apologize. Go ahead and go to the next slide. I am going to drop in the chat the link to our Survey Monkey. And the QR code is right there. So for all the students that are watching, please scan the QR code. Please take our Survey Monkey so that you have an opportunity to win this amazing beat set. It's going to be headphones that come with a case, and teachers, counselors, schools, please email me your attendance so that we can get those students' names and draw for our raffle. I really want to thank and give a big shout out to Ani School for coming, and Carolyn for sharing all this information with you all. We will be doing another session tonight at 6 p.m. and that is going to be open to the general public for families and students and communities to learn this information about the FAFSA. I want to just give a shout out. I've seen a few of my old students. I used to be a teacher at St. Francis Indian School, and so I see some students that former students, Wankan Two Strike, Teswecha Spotted Tail, Tiara Bordeaux, Richard White Hat, Princess Henry, and all the other students that I used to teach. Thank you for joining and tuning in with us. And thank you to all our other partner schools. I seen Hopi drop in the chat. I seen Timberlake, Harlem, any other schools that I missed. Thank you so much for joining us. And we appreciate you. We appreciate your partnership. And please, if you want to join us tonight, feel free to log on and spend another hour with us. If we have any questions, I did drop in the chat earlier if there was any questions. I did see one about scholarships. I don't have those essay questions, Lucretia, right on hand, and my screen is on our webinar, so I can get those questions to you.
Jenna,
Yes.
I seen a question about homelessness. I just wanted to answer that.
Yeah.
Go see your financial aid officer. We have verifications that we can do for the government that can verify your homelessness. You would just need to provide us that, and we can go ahead and upload it and scan it into your financial aid. So there is a way. Don't get discouraged. If you're homeless, still apply and go see your financial aid officer, and we can help you.
That was a great question, and thank you for responding to that and seeing that right away, Carolyn.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and thank you everyone for listening and having confidence in my information I provided. But like I said, I am new to my position, but everything is off of the studentaid.gov.
Okay, thank you so much, and if you want to, we'll see you again tonight. Thank you.